Alright everyone, I thought I'd make a video on how to play Ronin since he's in my intro and he's the profile in game for me. I really enjoy using Ronin. I love how quick he is. His dash out animation's fun and he's just fun to play. He's not that practical as far as taking him to war or using him in AQ, but I definitely do enjoy playing him a lot. So I'm going to break him down for you guys a little bit. So first, let's talk about his stances. He's got 3 stances: Guard, Wraith, and Demon. Guard will activate the parry mastery, even on non-contact hits. It ups his perfect block chance, so it's going to increase his parry stun timer, and then it purifies a debuff, just a single debuff when dashing back. Wraith lowers defensive ability accuracy by 40%, comboed with the disorient on SB1, it comes out to 100 for about 9 seconds, and then Demon Stance increases the chance sword attacks are going to place bleed by 75%, and that's actually a total of 90%, but it also places those bleeds through block. So let's take a look at those stances in action, one at a time. All right, so guard stance. You're going to throw a light attack, one single one, and dash back when you see the shield. There it is, back up. Now we can parry these non-contact hits, so very easily parry heavy maul here. Also, as we dash back, we'll remove a single debuff. Wraith stance, you're going to do 2 light attacks when you see the stun-looking debuff, or buff, and then back up. This is going to reduce that defensive ability accuracy, so you see I'm not adding to rock stacks, plus sometimes a bleed places, so it removes some. I am going to throw an SB1 in this stance to show you, while the disorient debuff is active, a complete defensive ability accuracy reduction of 100%. So hit into the block, didn't do anything, still nothing, so that is Wraith. And then Demon Stance, this is where you're going to get most of your bleeds outside of a special 2. It's 3 light attacks and back up. It's when you see the little sword icon, and then there it is. So every sword attack is going to be a 90% chance to trigger a bleed. Obviously, max deep wounds when you're using him to get the most out of his damage, plus suicides if you're cycling special 3, but we'll get to his rotation a little later. All right, so your goal with changing stances, besides utilizing their benefits, is to change constantly so that you can build 7 of these cruelty passive critical damage buffs. Once you get to 7 and you change a stance, you'll get this precision passive, which will up Ronin's crit chance like crazy, and that's when you start seeing a bunch of yellow numbers in your combos. So here's a little demo of what that would look like. This is going to be very passive play. I'm not going to do a lot of intercepting here. I might do a lot of blocking, but I'm taking my openings or even hitting into their block, because you can change your stances by block hits as well. And so you see sometimes I'm hitting into Rolk's block here and then dashing back. And right when I get to 6, the last stance I usually try to end in if they bleed is Demon. And then boom, there's the 2 passives. So you saw how to build the passives. There are other ways besides just changing stances, such as miss or evade. Also, just kind of like Namor, there's a benefit to playing a bleed immune champ, because if they're bleed immune and a bleed was supposed to trigger, then you'll actually get that cruelty damage passive instead. It didn't used to have a cooldown, but now it does since the last time Ronin was buffed. So it's a little bit slower than it was in the past. And what you'll also see in Ronin's kit is that there's an upped critical rating when intercepting. So there's a pretty aggressive way to play him so that you're constantly seeing yellow numbers. And here's just a quick showcase of building those cruelty passives versus a bleed immune. So in this version of ramping Ronin up, I am intercepting a lot. However, I'm not intercepting and changing stances. So if you're intercepting and you're planning out your combos and constantly changing stances, this ramp up is actually a lot quicker versus a bleed immune. And you'll see versus a non-bleed immune later in the video. So just a quick look at special attacks. SP1 is really just to benefit that Wraith or get a little bit of some defensive ability accuracy reduction when you're in other stances. SP2 is to stack on some more bleeds, so you can do a max of 7. And then SP3 is to gain a big Fury, 1 Fury buff or amount for just throwing SP3, and then the additional 7 times the 615 for each cruelty passive you have. So it can be a pretty big Fury and is good for longer fights. So just to showcase that a little bit, here's what I would do as far as the rotation goes for a long fight. And this is actually why I enjoy playing Ronin. He actually helps me learn how to kind of identify when I can intercept. I know it looks a lot like I'm just backdrafting in the middle of the field here, which about 50% of the time that's what's going on. But every time I finish or change a stance, either into the block or into the champion, and then I dash back to prepare the stance, there's a little bit of a hesitation where I'm waiting to see if the AI moves forward or doesn't move at all. And if he even flinches forward, then I'm going back in. And Ronin exits his dash so quick that they can be right up on you, and he'll protect himself per se. Now what you have is a nice little kind of like safety net through his duped ability. When I'm at 7 cruelty passives, and you saw it earlier, if I get attacked, I actually evade for 2 full seconds, and for every evade hit I get a Fury buff. So they upped the duration of the Fury buff so that you can actually utilize some of the damage, but in the past it was really just a safety net. So ideally you want to build to 7 and then use an SP3, which is what I just did, and now I'm going to aggressively change stances to get that crit passive back. I know I still have it now, and it's lasting a bit longer than it used to, but it's about to run out, and I want it up when I get to SP2. So there it goes, and we're right at the point where I brought it back, and I actually prepared myself to be in Demon. So now it's just crit and bleed, crit and bleed. I'm going to push myself to SP2, and then I'm going to drop the big SP2. And then we get all those bleeds, and then it just tick, 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 ticks away. So this is kind of a fun rotation, but it's more ideal for longer fights. So if I had played that out or showed it the whole way, it would have been 280 hits. I took 5 hits, and that's with a rank 5-star Ronin. So he's fun to play. It's not the most practical. There are people who there are champions that deal damage a lot faster. There are champions that do each of his stances a little bit better. He's just really entertaining and really smooth. So if you get the hang of that dash back intercept, or just even stand up intercepting, which I think this champion helped me with that a lot, then he can be pretty enjoyable, and he's really quick and fast paced. So it's something I do enjoy when I'm playing him. But you can play him slow. I've played him slow. I mean, war scenarios back in the past when I used to play my 5-star in war, I just kind of played out the stances slow, and I didn't really need to be super quick because the health pools are smaller. But that's Ronin. That's why he's on my profile pick, and that's why he's in my intro. And I hope this gave you some insight to what Ronin can do. I know there are other YouTube videos out there to kind of showcase what he does. I'd suggest watching those if you want to learn more about Ronin, but I thought I'd share, and I hope you enjoyed the video.